Everything Naomi Loved. Written by Katie Yamasaki and Ian Lender. Illustrated by Katie Yamasaki. Everything Naomi Loved. When Naomi wanted to see the world, she looked out her window onto 11th Street. It wasn't pretty, but it was alive. It had everything. Mr. Ray's Automotive, pizza by the slice, $1 wash, hair by Carmen, honking, blaring, booming horns, and the corner bodega, lotto ticks, coffee, ices, and fruit. It had nature and her best friend, Ada. Every afternoon, while their parents worked, Naomi and Ada scooted up and scooted down. In the summer, in the shade of the tree, they took sidewalk chalk and drew a forest and tamed the wild animals that rode by. The Naomi and Ada 11th Street Safari. By the time their parents came back from work, Naomi and Ada were tired. Their parents were tired. Those nights, Naomi and her mom and dad wished the tree and the neon lights and the never-ending hum of cars and Ada good night. Sweet dreams, 11th Street. One day, Naomi woke up and the tree was gone. They're building something new, said her mom. Something fancy, said her dad. But I loved that tree, said Naomi. Suddenly, 11th Street looked concrete and gray. Mr. Ray thought so too, so he got some brushes and paint from his shop. He touched a brush to the wall and something started to grow. Things change, he said, but where I grew up, when something we love goes away, we paint it on the wall so it's always with us. Do you want to help? Naomi shook her head. She had never seen Mr. Ray paint before. He was so good she didn't want to ruin it. When he was done, 11th Street got its green back. A few weeks later, Ada buzzed, but not to play. It was to say goodbye. Her family was moving. Their building was being torn down. Just like that, Naomi's best friend was gone. The next morning, Naomi had no one to play with. She picked up her sidewalk chalk and drew a scooter on the wall. You want some help? Asked Mr. Ray. Yes, please, said Naomi. So he showed her how to paint a foot, and a leg, and a summer dress. Ada, said Naomi. Not yet, said Mr. Ray. They made the last touch. Ada's smile. Naomi couldn't help it. She smiled too. But 11th Street changed more and more. Shops closed, signs went up, coming soon, luxury living. And one day Mr. Ray hung a sign of his own, closed for good. Things change, he said. Help me say goodbye. Together, they took out the paint. Mr. Ray painted a rectangle that turned into a window. And in that window, "Hey," said Naomi, "that's me." "That's what I'll remember," said Mr. Ray. "My view every day for the last 8 years. All that time looking out at 11th Street." Naomi never realized that she was a part of it. He asked, "What do you see out your window?" She said, "I see you every morning." So Mr. Ray painted himself waving. "Hola!" It looked a bit different though. "You don't have that much hair," said Naomi. "Like I said," replied Mr. Ray, "I'm remembering." He handed her his brushes. "Things change," said Naomi. And that's how they said goodbye. Soon, everyone on 11th Street was saying goodbye, whether they wanted to or not. Now, when Naomi looked out her window, she didn't see her world. So Naomi took Mr. Ray's brush and everything that 11th Street lost, everything that she loved, and she remembered on the wall. The pizza smell, the baseball on the bodega radio, the laundromat soap and steam, cherry ice for Mr. Sanchez, even the daydreams under the tree with her best friend on 11th Street. Then the workers in hard hats came with big machines. They put a fence in front of her wall and they came to make a change. Naomi's world was gone, but she kept a little piece. And when her family moved, that piece stayed with her. From 11th Street all the way to 111th Street. It wasn't pretty, but Naomi knew things change. It's not easy. But when we find places to call home and people to love, a new world will grow. The end.